is George. This morning I'll be running us through another session of Quick Labs from the GATS program 2020. Okay, so basically these labs are meant to improve our understanding and get us quite familiar with GCP and the tools that are available there. So normally you start this off by reading the overview, okay, so, and then read the objectives, and the objectives will guide you on what to expect from the lab. So let me quickly start this by clicking on the start button, and of course a total of 20 marks will be sought in this lab. Okay, so we will open the console by clicking here, click here to select the email address to be used, put that in here, give it a few seconds to come up. Okay, that's in there, and hits the enter button, then click here, come here, and next. Okay, click accept. Click confirm. Okay, give it a moment. Meanwhile, let's look through. And of course, make sure you use a private tab to do this lab, all your labs, and of course also use these credentials here. I've zoomed in a bit, so mine is a bit off screen, so but to see what is there, I simply do this, and let me refresh this page because I think there's a problem with my network. Okay, alright, so okay, so it's back to normal now, and I should see an arrow here. Of course, the arrow is back. Alright, so we have one more pop-up window to address before we move on to doing the labs. Okay, so we'll click here. Let's go down. Okay, the first thing we need to do to activate the Cloud Shell. Okay, let's activate that one. Then we will create a directory and move into that directory. And of course, we'll click on the open editor button. That will open our editor. Let us have both of them begin the process of being initialized. Okay, so let's go back to the terminal. That one is up already. So this command creates a directory and then changes your current location into that same directory. So I'll click here, come here, paste that, and the command should run if my internet isn't acting up, which it is. Okay, so okay, so what I usually do, I will open a new tab. If this tab isn't working properly, let me click on this. Okay, so this is up and running, the editor is up and running. Okay, so let me paste that in. Okay, so we're there now. Alright, so we're in that directory, and then we open this. We've done that. We create a new file. This is the name of the file. This is a template file. Let's copy this, go back here, open the editor, and of course right click on this and new file, select that, and then paste that in. Okay, so what will we be putting in that file? We will be adding the template for a resource. We will be doing creating network resources. So this is the structure of that file. And of course, to see the available types of type network that can be worked with on Deployment Manager, we'll select that command, go back to our terminal and hit that there. Okay, all right, so of course what this grep filter the output of this first command, okay, and only returns those entries that have the word network in them. Okay, so that's why you see it the way it is. So we're interested in this one here. Okay, all right, so let's go back here, and of course this is the output, and then another thing we will be doing is setting this to true. It's an auto mode network, so we're setting it to true so that it creates subnets in every available zone. Okay, so this is what we'll be having in that file. So let's just copy the final output, come back here, and then paste that in here, and of course save the file. Okay, let's go back up here. Then we create another file, which is this. Okay, and we will do that also here. Okay, so what will be in that file? The same as before, but in this other instance, since it's a custom mode network, we will set auto create subnets to false. So this is what we expect to be in there. Put this here, and of course do your saving. All right, okay, so we will create a subnet. Okay, so this is the name of the subnet template file. Copy this, come here, right click, new file, select and drop that in, and then okay, and we'll come back in here. Okay, so basically the structures of these files are the same. A resource would have a name, a type, and properties to go with it. So to see properties types that deploy manager would work with, we will run that same command we did earlier, but in this instance we will put the subnet word to grep and pass it to grep and have grep filter using that word. So let's check it out and see the result. Okay, so we have that. Of course we're after this one. Okay, the beta and the alpha will have some other properties that are in the process of being tested. So we are interested in the one which is the V1 version. Okay, so at the end of the day, we will add other properties, the IP CIDR range, and we'll add network and then region. Of course, this will be taken from properties defined in the config file that we'll be creating later. So at the end of the day, okay, this is how the file should be. So let's take this one, go back here, okay, and open the editor, paste it in there, and of course let's save that file. Save all. My system seems to be acting up. Okay, just click that one, we save that. Okay, so now we create a template for the firewall rules. Let's start with this one. Okay, change your files. You could also use Python files to do that. So right click here, create a new file, drop that name in there, come back here. Let's see the structure of the file. The same structure: resources, name, type, properties. You can have a lot of resources in that file. It doesn't have to be one. Okay, so we need to run this command one more time to see the options that are available to deployment manager. Okay, all right, so of course we will take in the top one. Okay, for the type we'll be working with. So these are the properties that will be there: network, source range. This is hard coded. You could also pass properties into it. Then the allowed IP range, IP ports, and protocol. All this will be gotten from the configuration file that we'll be creating later. So at the end of the day, this is how the file should look. If you do this thing often, you find it easy to just run through these things. But of course, practice makes perfect. You need to have been doing this a lot to be able to walk through. But if you haven't, and this is maybe your first or second time, please take your time to read through the documentation before you move forward, so you know what each of these means and how these properties are brought into used in this file during creation of a deployment. Now we create a template for our instances. Of course, as is a template, it will be used by If we used, of course, if we used as a template for creating instances. So we'll create a new file. Okay, put that. We have trailing, so let's get rid of that one. It's gone. Okay, so let's come back here. In that file, we have the same thing, resources, and of course, we check for the types that are available to be used by deployment manager. Come back here. Let's clear the screen and then paste that in there and see the result. Okay, so we're not after spanner, we're after this one here. Okay, all right, so all right, let's go up, and of course at the end of the day, okay, these are the properties also. Like you can see, this will be gotten from the configuration files, the zone, and all this. They are not hard coded. Some are, but others are. Most of them aren't. So at the end, this is how the file will look. Let's click on that, come back here, select this, paste that in, and drop that, and then of course save all. Okay, now we create the deployment. We create and deploy the configuration. Now we create a configuration file. Okay, that's the name of the file. Select this and right click here, new file, paste that in, and of course we'll do that. All right, so we will first pull in the templates we just previously created, all of them. We import them, and then the first item there will be this, and subsequently we add other firewall rules. So okay, so first of all, let's okay, so we are setting up. Okay, let's take this one first. Let's import the template files. Okay, then we configure the first network. Okay, all right, of course, and then the next one, this will permit SSH traffic, HTTP traffic, and RDP traffic. Okay, and you note here that there is a reference here. This ensures that this is created first before this is created, because you need to have a network to be able to have a firewall rule that uses that network. So let's move this back a bit. Okay, so this should go in. Sorry, this should go in bits. Okay, no, let's do this. Let me do that one by one. I think that's what it needs. Come back here. Okay. Okay. Okay, so that we're good to go. Okay, then we create a firewall rule to allow ICMP traffic on this network. Okay, so click on that, come back here, click that. Okay, put that in there. Okay, so we're good to go. Then we now configure management nets with firewall rules. So we add firewall rules to this other network. So let's click on that. Okay, for our custom network, we'll put that in. Okay, let's keep space here so that we'll see what we're doing. Come up here. The first rule is this. We create a subnet. Remember that this custom network, we did not create any subnets. Of course, you wouldn't. Only Auto Network on default has that option. Okay, so we're creating a subnet, and of course the same reference is used. That means this has to be up and running before this can be created, you know, because it's referencing it, so it needs to be up and running. Let's go down. Then we'll create the firewall rule after creating the subnet. That's the first one. The second one, okay, let me give a bit of line to have space, and okay, so that's the next one. Then we configure the private net with firewall rules too. So we set up the network. Okay, all right, so let's see what we did there. Private nets, and after that we put this. Okay, this is type, okay, subnets. Add a subnets to that, so put that one there, come back up, put another subnet. So there are actually two subnets in that this private network. Okay, two subnets there. All right, so let's keep some space there. Okay, let me, and then we add, okay, we've done that, added two subnets, and then we add the firewall rules, okay, to permit traffic, and the second one for ICMP traffic. That ICMP makes it possible for you to ping that instance. Without that, you won't be able to do that. Okay, so configure VM instances in each of the networks. So we're going to create configurations that will add instances to each of the network we just set up. So let's click on that, the first one. Okay, the next one. Okay, and the next one. Okay, all right, the next one. Let's be careful so that we don't skip any. Okay, so let's look at the record. The last one is this. The second one is private net US VM. Okay, private net US VM. Private net US VM. So each of these instances is situated in the various subnets, networks that we created. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There are actually 4. Okay, so let's check that out and be sure. So 1, 2, 3, and okay, I don't see 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, they're complete. There are 4. Let's see. We save the file. Let's do save all, and then check this one out. Now we deploy the configuration. We go back to our terminal. We need to be in that folder, and then let's do that. Let's see what happens. Okay, so it's running, so our configurations were okay. All right, let's go back and check. This is the output we expect. Okay, so let's check that out. Give it a few moments. All right, so let's do this. Then after that, of course, we are told if something goes wrong, perhaps our configurations are wrong, then we will need to delete our previous deployment, get rid of it, and then start fresh. So, but that's not the case, or at least for now, it isn't. So let's watch and see what will be coming up. So you could actually you could come down here, you could open up to see the instances being created, but networks will come up first before the instances. So let's go to Compute Engine instances. Let's see. Okay, so there are two options, two modes in which deployment manager creates this stuff, either in parallel or one after the other. So in this case, we don't want resources to be created at the same time, so hence we use the reference links in referencing other resources. So those resources will have to be created first for the referencing resource to be created. If the one being referenced is not created, then the one referencing will not be created. So that's how it is. So we're going to verify our deployment. We will go to our VPC. Okay, so let's go to our VPC. Oh, okay, so we're up, no errors in any one, so we are good. So the VMs are up. Let's check our network. Let's go to the network. There you go. Let's check our networks. Okay, so this is default. So okay, so management, this, and private. Okay, two subnets, and this the auto mode had subnets in each region, and then the management net had only one subnet. Okay, so we are good to go on that. Now verify your instance, VM instances in the Cloud Console. We've seen that already. Then we are to SSH into my net US VM and run some commands. So let's go back to the Compute Engine instances window. We're supposed to go into this one. Okay, mynet EU is still coming up. I wonder why. All right, so let's refresh the page a bit. Okay, so it's up. So let's go into this. All right, so that should come up. A terminal window should open up. Okay, so that's up. Let's bring this here. Let's change the height and the width. Okay, so to test connectivity to mynet EU VM internal IP address, run the following command in SSH shell. Okay, so we're going to ping the internal IP of this 3 times from this. So let's go back here. Let's see the internal IP of mynet EU VM. Okay, where's that? Mynet EU VM. Sorry, let's take this one back up. Let me put this one here. All right. Okay, go back here. Put that one here. Okay, so we take this. Okay, copy to clipboard, and then we will ping. Come back here. Let's ping 3 times. So ping command 3, and let's do that. Okay, so it works. Okay, then to test connectivity to private nets, ping the internal IP of that one, private net, this one. Let's click on this and then bring up our terminal, and then just remove the last IP we entered and then ping. Okay, that doesn't go. Okay, we're trying to ping this from here. All right, let's see what it says. It should not work because both VMs are on different networks. Okay, so let's bring up the column of network so that, okay, click on that. Okay, so when we have that, so all right, so this is on a different network. These two can talk to each other, but this cannot talk to this one. Okay, using the internal IP address. If they were to use the external IP, it would go. Okay, so that's the end of the lab. Very straightforward, less than 30 minutes. We are through. Okay, thank you for watching, and please leave your likes, and of course close your open windows. Go up here, click on this, close that one, come back here and stop the lab. Leave your reviews or comments, whichever one, and then click on submit. Thank you for watching, and please once again kindly leave your likes.